Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are scheduled to take public comment here today from noon until 2 o'clock, and then again this evening from 6 to 8, if it takes that long to cover everybody. So obviously I'm assuming you won't all want to come back at 6, so you might want to talk to your neighbors if you think they might be interested and not know about the meeting this evening. So the way it works is that we are here, Commissioner Dunn and myself, representing the Arizona Corporation Commission as commissioners, and we're here to listen. We cannot get in an exchange because all of the parties that are involved in this issue are not here to hear what's said. So we can basically take your comments, and they will all be recorded, and they will be entered in the docket. And the docket is the Johnson Utility case. And so that's why it's important that we hear from all of you to make sure that we get your information into the docket. And that information in the docket will be available to all of the commissioners to review and have available for their decision making when it comes time to rule on the rate case that has been basically ordered. Now, a lot of people in the comments earlier have talked about a rate increase. Now, just because a rate increase is requested doesn't mean it happens. The commission actually ordered Johnson Utilities to come in for a rate case so that we at the commission can have our staff review the records. The way the system works is rates are set based on the cost of doing business, and so the utility, no matter who it is, has to provide proof of what their costs are of doing business, and then a rate is designed based on that cost. So that's how that works. There's also some handouts in the back provided by Johnson Utilities in case you would like to pick those up and look them over. We will be taking sign-in sheets, and Steve will be collecting those. If you want to speak, we need to have you fill out the paperwork here, and but you don't have to speak. You can also write a comment on it and just say that you don't want to speak, but you want to have your comment as part of the record. So that's available as well. And Supervisor Goodman has been very instrumental in getting all of this set up, and so I'd like to offer him the opportunity to come up and say a few words to you before we get started here this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. First of all, I appreciate everybody being here. And this is an opportunity for you to be heard and to go on record. Some of you have already filed complaints to the ACC, and they'll let you know about that process. This is a process that's been taking place and actually has been worked on for some time. And a lot of it has to do with you voicing yourselves and letting us know where you stand and the direction you'd like to see things to happen. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you for the commissioners for taking the time to come and listen to us and to what our issues are in our area. The county has been working hard to do this. I know that's been kind of a misconception on people's minds, but I just want you to know that we have staff members that have been working to bring these hearings here in the public. Keep in mind that treat this as if this would be kind of a court of law. Be respectful of what other people are saying. We do have Johnson Utilities here, which we appreciate them because they can actually hear some of their higher uppers are here. But also express yourself. If you like Johnson Utilities, you need to tell us. If you don't, We need to hear that. Okay? But my point is, make yourself heard. If it's duplicated, somebody else has said the same thing, come up and say it again. This is a process that needs to happen for things to take place down the road. So with that being in mind and keeping that in mind, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the commissioners. ADEQ is here as well. We appreciate them, and we have county representatives. And so with that, I don't know if you need to open with a Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Burns, would you like to do an opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance again? We've already done that? Okay, good. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention, and I'll repeat also something I did mention, that you need to fill out the slips here in order to have your name called to come up and speak. But there is a 3-minute time limit on the speaking, and we try to stay with that in order to make sure that everybody that wants to speak has an opportunity to speak. So, and then when you come up, if you will give your name and your address for the record as well. I mean, we have it on the slip too, but we'd like to make sure we get that in the event that we need to get back with you on a question or something. And again, Commissioner Dunn and I cannot get into an exchange with the person. If you have a question to ask, you can ask the question and it'll become part of the record, but we're not here to get in a exchange with a question and answer, so we can't do that. Okay, I think we're ready to go. And so Pauline Lovett or Lovett.
I'm not sure your procedure. Can you all? Oh my God. Can you hear me or should I use the microphone?
No, you should have a microphone there. Is there a microphone there?
And I have to apologize. I have allergy deafness today, so I'm in a trash can. I have questions. Why does it seem that every time Johnson Utilities has a problem, meaning to me it gets publicly spoken about, it becomes our customer's problem to fix the problem? Why do we pay more for them to maintain their equipment? I come from a family of small business owners. Hey, that's your job to maintain your equipment, to present yourself to your community, your business class, as to being able to do the job well. All these other communities around here that don't have Johnson Utilities, don't have high water bills, and don't have the same clean water problems we have. And I'd just like to know why. Is our water dirtier? I don't think so. I think it all comes out of basically the same aquifer. That's my question.
Next we have Gary Ryan. I'm sorry.
Oh, is that RH? RH? What's the spelling on the name?
Gary, R-H-E-I-N. That's you? Okay. And if you would repeat your name and your address, please, and then proceed.
Gary Ryan, 2531 West Sunset Way in Green Creek. My comment is about what we're paying. I keep a worksheet. I do an Excel worksheet. I've kept track for a couple of years. And my usage in 2017 was 19.7% lower than it was the year before. My total bill was up by 3.6%. Now, the biggest component of that, I don't know if we're addressing that today, is the CAGRD. The amount that I paid in 2017 versus 2016 was up by 38.1%. That seems kind of large. And right now on my most current bill, I'm paying $4.19 per 1,000 gallons, which I don't think is the rate. I've got some worksheet here I'd like to leave with you because I've got them from the commission, and I can't see where that rate is appropriate. By my calculations, we could be paying as much as double what we should be. And in the course of a year, that's $200 or $300. So that's my question. Why is that CAGRD fee so high, especially for us? It's lower for the Phoenix area. It's lower for Scottsdale. Is there something in particular about our area that requires a higher CAGRD fee?
Okay, again, we're not going to get into an exchange of question and answer, but your question has been recorded,
Okay.
and we will see about getting you an answer
Who
back.
can I leave these worksheets with?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, you can just put them over here on the table. And I need to apologize to Commissioner Dunn. I didn't give him an opportunity to make a statement before we started. So if he does wish, okay, I'm sorry. Got- Okay, next up is Pat Hickman.
Gentlemen, my question is, am I concerned? Oh, bother. My
Name and
question-
address too, please.
Patricia Hickman, 31728 North Poncho Lane, in Solara at Johnson Ranch. You don't need to hear. Okay. My concern is the people that I know in Solara were senior citizens, were on a fixed income. How much higher are these rates going to keep going? Like the prior gentleman said, every year they keep going up and up. Is there no relief in sight? Also, I remember last year there was a water quality thing that came across in the mail, and it was full of some kind of chemical, and Johnson Ranch advised people with small children not to drink the water. What the hell? I don't get it. And I don't get Johnson Ranch and how he's getting away with what he's getting away with.
Michael Banry. Did I?
Hi, my name is Michael Baney, 1724 East Desert Rose Trail, Johnson Ranch. I'm fairly new here to the area, moved in here last May, and I've been paying water bills in various locations that I've lived in, and I have to say that water here in this Johnson Utilities and Johnson Ranch is well, my water bill that I'm charged I think $27 a month just for water, another 40 some odd dollars for sewage, and then the groundwater is pretty. Anyways, my bill fluctuates between $92 and $96 a month, and now they're, if they're wanting a rate increase, is it just on the water? Is it for the whole thing? And of course, last year we had such a issue there with low water pressure. Apparently, there was a well that went bad, but just trying to do anything with the water supply is bad. And then, on the other token, just the corruption you've read there in the news about certain people on the Board of Commissioners, Corporation Commission, and the stuff that's going on here with the owner of Johnson Ranch. It doesn't settle real good, but I'm living here and trying to do the best I can with trying to make a change whenever I can. So I do want to just voice my opposition to this increase, but we'll just have to see what the Corporation Commission does here for the voters here of the state of Arizona.
Next will be Rick Smith.
Rick Smith, 31175 North Orange Blossom in Solara, Johnson Ranch. I've been in Solera for 35 years. Arizona for 35 years, Solera for 12 years. I've got a little bit unique perspective because I had a business that I operated that I provided services to homeowners. And so I've got lots of feedback from them as well. Took care of winter visitors' homes. One of the things I did was change their water filters, and I did a TDS test on the water to test when it was time to change. TDS is totally dissolved solids that are impurities in the water. And when it reached a certain point, it was time to change those filters. The EPA and the World Health Organization state that anything over 500 parts per million is impure water. Any day of the week, you can take our water out of the tap, not through the RO system, but out of the tap, and it is in excess of 500 parts per million. They also state that it's unenforceable, so I'm sure people just overlook it. One of the opening statements said that the rates are set by the cost of doing business, which really got my attention because having been an entrepreneur all my life in several states around the country, dealing with lots of companies, this is the worst managed company I have ever seen. And that's going to be reflected in the cost of doing business. They pay themselves outrageous salaries. They don't maintain their equipment, like a lady said. They do everything wrong. And they have no customer service. You can't reach them on the telephone. It is absolutely the worst company I've ever had to deal with. Everybody's aware of all the problems they've had with impurities in the water. We had a couple people that posted things this summer where their water was totally shut off and their meter continued to run. And I know they submitted those into Johnson Ranch and maybe to the Corporation Commission as well. But I think that's the cost of doing business was the main thing that got my attention. I can totally understand how the rates are so high if that's the main consideration. So that's all I have.
Next up is Robert Thomas.
Robert Thomas, 5709 East Athena Road, Florence, Arizona. I have a very brief request, and that is, rather than let the fox guard the chicken house, I think the most correct thing to do would be to have a complete independent third party, totally unrelated to Johnson Ranch business, so that we could get a real picture of how much profit they're making, and that's basically what I'd like to say.
Victoria Sparletti, maybe?
Victoria Sportelli, 651 East Mayfield Drive, Santan Valley. I consider Johnson Water Company a failed company. First of all, they undermanaged and they undercollected from their customers to the tune in Pinell County of $461,000. That is not our problem. As said before, customer service is rotten. I had to go back to paper bills because when I was not getting my emails for the bill. And most important, when I was suddenly charged for 40,000 gallons of water when I do not have a pool, and demanded that they change the water meter, suddenly my bill went down to a normal level, and I still got a letter saying, oh, there was no problem with the water meter. There wasn't a drop of water anywhere on our property, on the street, in the gutter, anywhere. So I assume that the fault was in the meter. I see no reason to raise the rate that we have to pay for a company that is not functioning properly. I agree with the gentleman who just spoke that we do need a third party, or this commission, to assign a third party to take a very careful look at this company before you allow them to charge us more money for the same amount of water we've been using for years. I'm not irate, I'm just concerned and firm, and I hope you stay concerned and firm as well.
Next up is John Price.
Yeah, my name is John Price. I have 5780 East Valley View Drive in Florence. The same thing that the rest of them have talked about, I agree with. I would like to also note that I have retired from the city of Mesa in the utilities, and we had never had the problems that Johnson Utilities has had. I'd like to know where we can get the information that these people have addressed on the problems that they have addressed in the future, so that we can know what has been done to correct any of these problems.
Okay, well, one source of information is the docket that I mentioned earlier.
Right.
It's a long number, but I'll give you the number a couple of times here. And so if you go on the Arizona Corporation webpage, azcc.gov, and go to the docket and look up this docket number, you can see all of the information that's been entered on this case since it's been filed. So let me give you the number. I'll give it again later. And so if you're ready to write, folks, it's WS-0298-17-17-0392. And I'll read that number again later so you can have it available.
And another idea in that regard is that if you need to get information to the commission, go on the website and click the picture of any commissioner you think is the most handsome or whatever, but just contact and get that information to a commissioner's office, and that will be added to the docket too. So again, we're just interested in getting the information from you, the complaints that you have, and get that on the docket so that can be reviewed during the process as well as before the commission when we have to make our decision.
You had more time if you wanted to say anything else. Okay, thank you. Esther Hoffman. Yeah, right.
Thank you for taking. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. I've lived out here for almost 14 years, and when we first moved in, they stated about the water pressure problem, that as different subdivisions were being built, that it would be low and it would come and go. We have still not solved that problem, and we are paying way high rates for that problem. My husband actually went out on Saturday to try to pressure wash his engine, and it took him an hour and still did not have enough pressure to pressure wash his engine. I have been trying to keep my lawn green, and I have had to switch various different times of the day to try to get even the sprinklers to pop up, and it never fails. I'll get like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then that stops working. And then finally now I'm at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's been working for a little while, but I don't know how much longer that's going to work, that I'm trying to keep my lawn green to follow my CCNRs with the HOA. And several times our water has just been shut off in the day because a well's gone down or something's happened. And we don't have water and don't know when it's going to come back on. The water quality is not well as we've raised children with this. It's not been good. So I'm highly opposed of a water increase, and hope and pray that you listen to all of us because we're the ones paying the price.
Belinda Hobbs.
Belinda Hobbs, 2781 West Peggy Drive in Santan Heights. When we moved here, we put in a normal size yard. We have since decreased that to less than half the size, and my water bill has not changed. Mainly, we're on a drip system now. When I called the office, I was told they could not discuss it with me. I went down there with my water bills, and they said, well, there must be something wrong with your meter, but we cannot take care of that unless you pay. So anyway, my consumption of water is $22 a month. My sewer fee is $41 a month, and my CAGRD is $46 a month. We're 2 people in the house. We were gone summers for 1 and 2 months, and the lowest my bill ever went was $90. Now, there's something wrong here, and I think that, we're paying far too much for $22 worth of water. My bill is $131 a month. So thank you very much.
Janice Benda.
I wrote mine out. Janice Benda, I live at 28032 North Sedona Way in Johnson Ranch. We moved here from Illinois hoping to avoid all the politics and corruption that the state is known for. All we did was learn that it followed us, and it's here in Santan Valley right down Hunt Highway. We're fairly new residents to Santan Valley compared to many of you residents here, but we've already noticed some discerning things going on in Johnson Utilities. Our first month's bill seemed relatively normal at 5,000 units, but from that point on, our bills climbed continually. When I contacted Johnson Ranch to inquire as to why our monthly bill went from 5,000 to 9,000 to 10,000 to 9,000 back to 11,000, the lady in the office told me that's what the previous owners of our house had. Really? They had 3 adults and 2 large dogs. We're 2 adults with 2 very small pets. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to why our units vary so much. In fact, after my call to the office, my bills for the last 7 months have been exactly the same, 6,000 units. In the 3 months, our past 3 months, our drip lines were reduced every day, reduced from every day, twice a day, to every other day, once a day. We've had a company from out of town for 2 weeks. We were out of town for an extended period of time, and our bills never changed. So obviously no one's reading or recording the meters. My husband opened up the cover and pulled out a ton of dirt, sand, and other debris out of the box to see our meter. Obviously no one had done that in years. The meter is a flow meter with no electric, so how is it read, if indeed it ever is? Our previous home in Illinois, we would get a definite reading. It would say 325 gallons. The next month it would say 526 and would show that we used 201. Johnson Utilities' so-called readings are always in even mounts of thousands. You know, that's not possible. Obviously, no one actually reads the meters. I don't know how anyone who has seen Johnson, if anyone has ever seen Johnson's utility trucks driving around the neighborhood reading the meters. We haven't. We've only seen them at Fry's around lunchtime picking up cases of beer. My point is that right now it's ridiculous that in the past year we paid more for water than we did for real estate taxes. Our second complaint is regarding the quality or their lack thereof of the water we receive in our home. At least 2 different times residents were cautioned not to allow infants or toddlers to drink the water. If babies should not drink the water, then we shouldn't be giving it to our pets who weigh the same. My husband bought a water tester and uses it twice a month to test our tap water, refrigerator filtered water, and osmosis filtered water. Today, the readings show the refrigerator and osmosis filtered waters are safe to drink. Our kitchen tap water came in at over 5 on the tester. And as the gentleman said earlier, 4 and higher are not considered good drinking water. Each month, we're required to buy bottled water for drinking and use osmosis water for cooking only. Unlike the phone and television companies which allow residents to pick service providers, Johnson Utilities is a monopoly. We are stuck with them. They should be held to a higher standard than they've been in the past. If you folks who are are supposed to be overseeing the regulating companies like Johnson Utilities don't do all in your power to protect the residents of Santan Valley from receiving bad water and bad water service and overcharging, who will? Rate increases should be only allowed when companies are providing good service to its customers. The residents of Santan Valley should be receiving rebates for all these past years of inadequate and sub-quality water and water service, not an increase for bad service. Please be the voice of all of us here in Santan Valley. Deny the rate increase until Johnson Utilities improves the quality of their water and their service. Sorry, I went more than 3 minutes.
At a past meeting, the person running the meeting requested no applause. And I didn't want to do that, but I think we need to kind of tone it down a little bit because we're interrupting the speaker, and the speaker's comments need to be recorded by the recorder, so she needs to be able to hear. So maybe we can just have the applause a little bit less applause, or at least let people completely finish their statement. Jim Briggs.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Briggs. I live at 132 East Desert Bell Way here in Santan Valley. I think we're here today because we're talking about a privately owned utility. It does operate as a monopoly, and as such, the expectations for moral and ethical responsibility and performance are quite high. Yet despite this, we have had reports of frequent violations for water quality. There's the whole ongoing issue of underperformance for water pressure. There's frequent violations exceeding emissions. And the principal of the company is subject to some prosecution in concert with a state official that have affected our rates. It's not all bad though. I mean, the individual did create Johnson Ranch, which is a pretty nice place, and you certainly have to give credit to the company for having the moxie to ask our rate increase given the challenges that it's currently undergoing. Thank you.
Sharon Anton.
Sharon Antone, 194 West Love Road in Circle Cross Ranch. I could repeat many things that have been said today. I made just a couple notes. I'd like to know, how much does Johnson Utility collect in fees versus how much their statutory obligations are? So how much are they keeping for themselves? How does Johnson Utility determine monthly water usage? I have never seen anyone in front of my house, ever. Many times, my bills are, as repeated before, exactly the same water usage. And I live alone, and I use 11,000 gallons a month. I don't know how that could be. I've questioned neighbors, and neighbors with many, many children are using less than I am. Also, as far as the quality of the water, it stinks. It smells like egg water. I go to my bathroom, I haven't even turned the water on, and I can smell it. You can smell it from the tubs. And some months, my bills are exactly the same, same water usage. And I'm amazed that sometimes in the winter, my rate is even higher than in the summer when my sprinkler's on. That's all I have to say.
Richard McLaughlin.
Dick McLaughlin. I live at 915 West Cactus Mint Circle in Johnson Ranch. It's what I had intended to say is going to be a lot of repetition of what you already heard. In my considered opinion, Johnson Utilities is incompetent. And I'm not naming names, I don't know names, but the company isn't. Unlike some of the people who've claimed that they're getting these repetitive same bills, one of the problems I have is that I'm paying the bills in my house, and I cannot predict from month to month what the bill will be from Johnson Utilities. Some months it comes in and I'm paying $200. The next month it'll come in at $56. That, in my considered opinion, speaks to the competence of the company. Specific problems. We moved here 12 years ago. The water pressure at my house is ridiculously low. In the kitchen sink, I have to run the water for a long time just to fill up a 2-cup container because the pressure is not there. And I took all the filters out of the damn faucets so that I could get any flow at all. We have complained to the company, and they did send one poor gentleman out to my house on 2 or 3 occasions who looked at it and said, well, we're trying to do something about it, but the well supply is not good. Then dig other wells. I don't know, but that needs to be handled. The sewerage part, I drive down Hunt Highway every day. I spent a long time in long lines on Hunt Highway while they were trying to clear up a, quote, unofficial or one-person incident that left their sewage all over the street. That, to me, is a little difficult. So at any rate, what I come up with is, and now they come around and ask for a raise. When I was working for a living, thank God I'm not anymore, we got a raise when we did something right. They have yet to do anything right, in my experience. And therefore, I am opposed, very strongly opposed, to giving them a rate increase. Thank you for your time and patience.
John
Good afternoon. My name is John Danico. My address is 5597 East Dionysus, Florence, 85132. My experience with Johnson Utilities is pretty atrocious. I live 0.2 miles from the Section 11 wastewater treatment plant and have, for the last several years, been inundated with hydrogen sulfide plumes, over 125 violations since 2015. And when the air comes in, Pinell County, you can look up all the records in Pinell County Air Quality Control District and the Pinell County Board of Supervisors, who recently failed to impose adequate sanctions to deter future violations and took over a potential $1 million fine and reduced it to $20,000 with the promise that they were going to build a mechanical plant, which they have a ADEC certification for mechanical increase that Mr. Cole indicated on June 21st, item 4T on the Pinell County Board, that they're going to put a mechanical plant, at least led people to believe that. Then they reach an order of abatement by consent, and suddenly this fine is waived. And lo and behold, when they submit the plan, there's no mechanical plant to be had. Okay? The remedial actions that Mr. Cole indicated were a Band-Aid solution is what we're stuck with. Now they want more money. The indication was that this $1 million was waived so that they could use that money to build the plant. So there's no reason for more zealous effort to eliminate hydrogen sulfide violations, because there's never anything but a slap on the wrist when violations occur. My neighbors and I have been poisoned by this, okay? We can't open our windows. When we close our windows, close our doors, it comes into our house. The readings that we get are way less than adequate. There's questionable shenanigans going on with where placements of meters are going on right now. It's unfreaking believable. It's like a criminal enterprise. I'm not exaggerating. I can go on and on and on. It's beyond belief. You look at the representations in the actual rate case of Mr. Cole, and I'm sure Mr. Cole's a nice fella, okay? I think he's probably a decent guy. But the problem is that he says that he was working for Johnson Utilities as the chief operating officer when he first came to town. Go look up a web search on Brad Cole, Johnson Utilities, and the representation is chief operating officer of Johnson Utilities. Now, in the rate case, what is it? Hunt Management LLC, again, a Johnson company owned. There's no indication that there's going to be any audit of the arm's length transaction as to how this service company was brought in to service Johnson Utilities. Okay? To me, it looks like a giant fraud operation. Okay? Why is that? Because then they can just think about it. You get a company that you own, you say charge a higher rate, then you say charge it back to me at this higher rate, and now that serves as a basis for getting higher rates from Johnson Utilities? I mean, just figure it out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. This is criminal. It's a criminal enterprise, okay? And you guys, in your commission, we are asking you to zealously uphold the law. Fight for the integrity of government officials. I can guarantee you most of the people I know have absolutely zero faith in you guys anymore. And it's sad. because I want my country to do good. I want this county to do good. I want you guys to do good. We want that. We crave that. We try, file the complaints, do all the stuff, and yet nothing happens. And the only indication we could have, could anybody be that incompetent? I don't think so. The only thing that's left is corruption. And then when we see these federal indictments, it makes us lose even more faith. And so we're asking you, do a thorough investigation, outside independent auditors to go through every last jot and tittle. I've got in the docket number WS-02987A-1700184, filed 6/14/2017. And again, the other docket, ACC 0000B-17-0062, filed 3/2/2017. Numerous records that show that there's fraudulent aquifer protection permit smurfs being filed, okay? When Johnson Utilities reports to Pinellas County Air Quality Control District that there's violations, they get a notice of violation for air quality with not odors, which is constantly being represented, oh, it's an odor problem. No, it's a hydrogen sulfide problem, which is a threat to my health and my neighbors. We're tired of it being mischaracterized to minimize what we're suffering. We have breathing problems, nausea. It's ridiculous. And it's an odor problem? No, it's a hydrogen sulfide problem that's regulated all the way up to the EPA. It's just ridiculous. You can see.
We're going to need to have you wrap. You're kind of exceeding your time. So finish your
I'll finish
thought.
the point. 3 years of Smurfs are filed by Johnson Utilities. None of them indicate that there's any defects in the mechanical plant. No pumps are out, everything's perfect. Look at the self-authenticating documents from Pinellas County Air Quality Control District. Johnson Utilities is reporting to them, oh, we got pumps broken, we've got aerators broken, we've got personnel that don't show up, we've got pipes that are clogged. That's why we can't comply with the air quality. Link the two together and see where there's a lie, okay? It doesn't take a when I called ADEC, got a hold of, I could find the guy's name, said, hey, do you see this? You know what he said to me? This is what he said. He said, what do you want me to do about it? And he had a complete record set. I said, how about enforce the law? Thank you.
Sarah Mitchell. Sarah Mitchell.
Hello, I'm Sarah Mitchell from 30909 North Orange Blossom in Solera, and that is the 55 and over community. We've lived in this area for about a little over 5 years, and since day one, I would complain to Johnson Utilities, just as everybody else would say, that the bill kept going up. Now, take it, for the summertime, when you're watering more, I can understand that. And they said, and it's always, you must have a leak, you must have a leak. So we thoroughly got the new irrigation system, bit the bullet and spent all that money, and we're still having the same problems. I compared my January bill last year to this year. It's just the two of us, $20 more. That's no rate increase. They want to increase the rates. We've already been raped. We've been there, and things have got to change. A couple of comments like, this isn't the time or the place. Maricopa, what are they doing? What's different? Why are their water bills lower? Why is the quality of the water better? And maybe this should all be overthrown and start having a different water company. Another thing is, I'm here to represent all of us as homeowners because this is going to affect our property values. I
went to a beauty shop a few months back in Chandler, and I hear people talking about, oh, they would never move to Santan Valley because of the water problem. And I'm on the welcome committee in our community, and I went to visit a new couple moving in, and just let them know all about the good things in our community. And they said the only problem we have, and we feel like the realtor should have disclosed the problem with our water with this Johnson Utilities. We never would have moved here had we known.
Lance Mitchell.
My name is Lance Mitchell. I usually live with Sarah at 30909 North Orange Blossom Circle, if she's not mad. But since day one, we've had water pressure issues, and you call Johnson Utilities and they say, oh, we're working on it. Right outside Solera, they put a pressure pump to increase our water pressure. The pump is never on. It's been there for 2 years. I've never seen it running. So they went to the expense of putting in a pump, and they don't use it. The waste treatment plant on Hunt Highway, you drive by there any night after 10:30, and it smells worse than if you're driving by one of the local dairies. That is atrocious. When they want to check your water meter, they don't send it out to a third party to be tested. They test it themselves, and it always comes back, no problem found. They are reactive. They are not proactive. They don't fix anything until it breaks. You know, I worked for a manufacturing company. Every weekend we had our maintenance people going through our plant looking for problems so that during the week when we were producing product, the machines didn't break. Last but not least, what does the ACC plan to do to regain our trust? Because you've totally lost it. Thank you.
I have Alice, and I can't read the second name. Hansel? Lyle? Okay. Alice and Lyle
I would put
Hansel.
Alice first, but I was hoping she'd be. Sounds like this works. Let's see. We live at 28858 North Gold Lane, Santan Valley. But in addition, we also own a house down in Oasis at Magic Ranch. And that address is 23634 North Desert Agave Street. And that's Florence. Anyway, a couple concerns. I guess the first concern I want to mention is the fact that the building out here is really increasing. There's new homes and subdivisions being put all over the place. And it appears to me that Johnson Utilities is not capable to deal with what population we have here now. And with all this addition going on, I think we've got a major problem. And I'm not so sure Pinell County is on top of the problem. And okay, and the next concern I have is our daughter, who has a little baby, our granddaughter, lives down there at Desert Agave, okay? And they're about 3 houses away from the sewage transfer plant there. And the odor from that plant just about knocks you over. And it's particularly horrible when the red light's on and they eventually get somebody out to fix it. But even when it's not, the red light is not going, it still stinks out there. And they can't even open their window. And we're very concerned about our granddaughter breathing the air there. And, you know, we haven't personally called the county, but the county's being constantly bugged about the problem, and nothing seems to be done. So I don't think it's a healthy situation. And I guess we're totally opposed to increasing the rates because the service we have out here is really pretty poor. And we're also concerned very much about the quality of the water, of course. And then I don't think anybody's mentioned, but last summer there was a sewage overflow in Santan Valley right there by the Y, and it filled up that whole drainage area there, and that was a problem for a couple, 3 weeks until they got it solved. So to me, I think the company's way over their head, and I don't know what we can do about it, but I'm opposed to any rate increase. Thank you.
Lori Thorlander.
Hi, my name's Lori Tholander. I live at 32057 North Buckskin in Johnson Ranch. And my concern is that we've had a few issues with the water quality being bad, as people have mentioned before. And the thing that really bothers me is that the time that I'm remembering is that it was 3 days before we were notified that there was a problem with the water and that certain people shouldn't drink the water. Now, when I read about that, they said, well, they had to test it. But there was enough of a concern for them that they had that. And so for 3 days, these people were drinking tainted water that they were aware was a problem, and they didn't let us know. So that's a concern for me. I have never lived in an area where I was afraid to drink the water that came into my own home, to the point that, like other people have mentioned here, we bring our own water in and only use the other water for either irrigation or if we're going to boil it or something to make sure that it's as safe as it can be. So I'm being inconvenienced that now I have to bring drinking water into my own home, pay for that, and now they want more money, and they're not even doing the job that they're supposed to do, which is to deliver clean drinking water to our homes. That's what we pay for. That's what we want. We're asking you, please oversee this. We're all at your mercy. Thank you.
William Braden, I believe it is.
First of all, I'd like to try not to repeat what's been said, but I want to
direct... Could you give your name and address, please?
William Braden. I live in Circle Cross Ranch, Santan Valley. Been a resident there about 10 years. I have written several letters to the Corporation Commission regarding Johnson Utility, problems I've had. Never once did the Corporation Commission answer or respond. I have believed that there is collusion between the Corporation Commission and Johnson Ranch. Something is dramatically wrong. When these people say that the odor from the plants are dangerous, they are. When they say it stinks, it does. I would feel sorry for someone living in Pecan. The odor is so bad there, their property values have to have gone tremendously down. So there is no absolute reason why you would consider a price increase. That's abominable. It's without having any rational reason to justify it. I think you need to roll back the rates, 40%. Make them own up to what their responsibility to the community is. They are a monopoly. I say to you, remove their license. Force them to sell. Get somebody in that can run it. I drive by major sewage plants in Mesa. in Chandler. We bike by them regularly, many times. No odor. How do they do it? Another thing, I'm a seasonal resident. I stay in Arizona 12 months, but we go up in the mountains. When I leave here in the spring, I donate $40 a month to Johnson Utility for sewage that don't go in the pipe. Now you tell me, is that fair and equitable? Hell no. Why? Why would you allow that? I've never lived in a community where I pay sewage that doesn't go in the pipe. And it's always the same. When I had problems where I didn't trust the billing, the usage, there's only two of us. We don't use a lot of water. I don't do a lot of irrigation. And when they come out and they tested the meter, it was all right. But the gentleman who said, they don't give me the past reading or the future. I have no way I could prove that that meter is being electronically read correctly. You know, I have no idea. So, tell me, why again would that be allowed? You know, if the meters aren't correct, and so many have said they're not correct, why don't they fix it? You know, I don't have the solution to these problems other than we need a replacement for Johnson Utility. I don't believe you can force them to correct it, because you haven't in the 10 years I've been here. Thank you.
Jennifer Wilson. Jennifer Wilson, 10880 East Verbena Lane.
Yeah, Whedon.
Okay,
The hard
I'm
last
sorry,
name
I
to pronounce. That's
couldn't
okay.
read that.
Johnson Utilities has failed its customers miserably in quality, service, and price. Most of us, the average base bill before any water usage, none, $75 to $85. Before any water at all, before you even turn on a single drop. And when you do, you don't know what you're getting in your glass. You pour a glass of water, sit down to have dinner, you go to drink it, and you look at it and go, do I need to chew this first? Because there's so much stuff floating in it. I've seen cleaner canal water. The water pressure is horrible. You'll be in the shower and all of a sudden all you got's a trickle. It takes on average 4.5 minutes to fill a 5-gallon bucket. And you know where the waste ponds are because you drive by and you can smell them. Because they stink something horrible. You know, people are afraid to drink their water. Because you never know what you're getting in it. You know, you find out 2 months down the road that, 2 months ago they had an issue not to drink your water. You know, you call to talk to them about water pressure or billing issues. Like a lot of other people. I was gone for 2 weeks. But yet my bill was more when I was home for the whole month. And sometimes I use the exact same amount all the way around, and all of a sudden it spikes and it's down. You call and ask them about it, there's a fee for that. There's a fee for that. I have a water pressure problem. That's a $35 service fee. I want to pay my bill over the phone. That's a fee. I want to pay my bill online. That's a fee. You know, it's ridiculous. They're just lining their pockets. You know, and price. If I'm going to pay a premium price, I don't want canal water. I want it clean. Thank you.
Gary Thomas.
My name is Gary Thomas. I live at 30689 North Sunray Drive in Stonegate right here. I got a little unusual perspective. I worked for George for 8 years. I've been here 15 years. I got fired, but I did all the testing, and I took it up to Bell Avenue, had to go to each subdivision, take 5 samples from each one. And I never tested them. I took them up to a laboratory. They sent the results there.
Yeah, could you put the mic up a little closer?
Oh, I would take the samples up to Bell Avenue, someplace on Bell Avenue. They tested it, sent the results back to Johnson Utilities. But I'm not going to get into it because they know where I live, and I'm not going to take any repercussions of having my water cut off. A couple of things, when people don't pay their bill, I used to shut their water off. They used to give them a 30-day period. Now they give them a 10-day period. If you don't pay your bill, it's cut off. And I understand, you got to make money, but come on. When you got families with little kids that need water for formula, I saw it all in 8 years. And then they fired me because I worked at a steel mill for 31 years, and I finally I was supervisor. I told anybody what I thought of them, and I didn't care. And then they finally said, you know, you better retire before they do fire you. So I've always been that way. And the way this company has been run and what I've seen, it's only getting worse, man. So if, like that one guy said, we all deserve a reduction, not an increase, a reduction. Because I saw my bills. I live by myself. I have my daughters come out and stay for me a little bit, but I use between 3,000 and 4,000, maybe 5,000 gallons, because I'm a firm believer when you move to Arizona, you don't need to plant grass, okay? I've got cactus and rock in my front yard, so, but it doesn't matter how much water you use, everything keeps going up. That cadre feel, or adjuster, that's for putting the water back into the aquifer. Well, more people that move out here, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to get drained. So they're going to charge us more to put the water back in there. If it rained once in a while, we'd be okay. It's just that, bottom line, it's only going to get worse, okay? And 15 years, New Mexico, here I come.
Robert McVeigh.
How you guys doing today? Listen, about nine months ago, first of all, my name's Robert McVeigh. Live at 6650 East Refuge Road.
Sorry, speak up, please.
6650 East Refuge Road, Oasis Magic Ranch. About 9 months ago, I worked for Johnson Utilities. I worked at Section 11. I know everything about that place. Your smell, sometimes the quality of the water. And let me tell you something. I don't know who the congressman was, or not congressman, but supervisors. Some of the supervisors came down, did their little walk around, a little dog and pony show. Now, they were doing their job. They're doing it for you guys. But the dog and pony show was Johnson Utilities. And let me tell you, I was there. that smell that you guys smell is not just because of all the, well, I'll be nice and say poop that comes into those systems, but the system's too small. It can't handle the load. It's backing up. The one gentleman said, driving down Hunt Highway, all I can do is smell. I can smell it. It's terrible. Well, he's right, because it's coming up through the sewer holes, the gutters. That's why it smells so bad in those certain areas. Up on Section 11, they have approximately 14 lakes, size of football fields, each one of them. It's nothing but poop. That's all it is. And it works its way down. Gravity pulls it back into cold leach fields. They go back down into the ground, and it goes back into our drinking water. That's where it goes. Now, this is normal stuff. It happens all over the country, so it's not uncommon. But when it's not treated properly, because chemicals cost a lot of money, a lot. I know for a fact they should have been treated a lot better. I was there. I was putting the chemicals in the water. I knew what was happening. And when I found out what the real truth was, not just that, it goes way beyond that. Besides your drinking water that's not filtered properly before it gets to your house. I'm talking about just the wastewater itself, because it gets reclaimed and sold to Merrill Ranch. It's sold to the golf courses. It's sold to the plants along the road that you guys look at when you drive by and go to work every morning. That water's treated too. You can't drink that water because it's not potable. Okay, we all know that. You can't drink it. But it still has to be treated. So if that's not treated, and they're using that, you have to understand, I'm a little pissed off. Okay, so bear with me, because it's been a long time coming since I've been here. I remember one day I was out doing a water sample, because we do water samples at the lakes, at the golf courses. That's the water that comes from your sewage. That's supposed to be treated. That sample's done every single day. And the next day, we get the results back from the testing facility that tells us if that water is acceptable to even be out in the open. Okay, and they test it for stuff like E. coli. Okay, because that's bad stuff. Well, I'll tell you right now, many times it came back and it failed miserably. Now your kids, they're out there playing in those parks by the golf course with the sprinklers going off, middle of summer, and those kids are playing in that water because they're trying to cool off. It's hot. It's 115. One day I walked up, I saw the kids playing, and I saw one of the greenskeeper for Johnson Utilities. Good guys. I saw him yelling at the kids, get out of the water, get out of the water. It's just a sprinkler. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, oh man, if you only knew. Well, tell me. I work for the same company. He goes, oh, that's bad water. I got to chase him out of the lakes at the golf course because the kids are playing in there. Let alone the golfers are out there getting hit by the water. That's laced with some real bad stuff. So, anyways, knowing what I know, and as far as the meters are concerned, half of them don't work. Just so you know. Okay? They don't work. They're just estimating whatever. See, I have 4 or 5 girls in my house. My bill's $1 million a month anyways in water, so I'm used to it already. But anyways, I want to let you guys know that it's been a long time coming, and I'm really surprised no other Johnson Utility workers that's ever worked there. I haven't been there for about 6 or 7 months, but I get a little tired of this story. And don't blame them. Don't blame those workers. They're making $10 an hour. All of them. And they've been there 15 years. I'm not kidding. And some were a little higher. Some took their water treatment tests. They got a few more dollars. Maybe some were at 15 after 20 years. But guess what? You could imagine. I'll just leave it like that. But I just want to let you, as this community, because I'm part of your community, I'm pissed. And that's why I'm standing here. And I've spoken to some other guys, and they don't want to stand up and get on this microphone. That's on them. But I got kids too. And I know you guys got them too. But I at least had to throw that out there and let you guys know what's going on that part of it. As far as the fresh water, the smell, the impurities that are so deep in that water, the stuff that needs to be extracted out. At their main hubs that are coming up out of the ground, the wells, a lot of times those filtration systems are not there. Those are pricey too. So if you need to put in a big filter once a month, he's probably doing it once every 3 or 4 months. Probably. I'm telling you that right now. What actually needs to happen is the city, county, or state needs to take that whole place over, get rid of get rid of him, number one. Number two, open up the pipes. Put bigger pipes in there. That community, since I've moved there, it's 5 times the size. I know what size pipes are in there. They're way too small. They need bigger pipes, way bigger pipes, and a bigger facility.
Sir, you're going to need to wrap up. No, if you have additional comments, you can certainly put those in writing and present them to the docket as well. Okay.
For right now, I'm going to continue watching the meetings and see where this stuff takes, where it goes from here. But if this is not resolved, I'll tell you right now, he just needs to go. That's all there is to it. The city needs to sit in. The city of Florence needs to come in and buy it. Queen Creek, whoever it is, they need to pull the pipe, make it bigger facilities, and that wastewater treatment plant, it needs to go from the 1950s back, to the 2000s now. So, and that'll probably pretty much solve the whole problem. Okay, thank you.
Christine Trask.
My name is Christine Trask. I live at 455 West Twin Peaks Parkway, Santan Valley. We're snowbirds. There are only 2 of us in our house. And we just received our bill for January 5th to February 5th. We were only there 2 weeks out of the time, and our bill was $80. We also have homes in Illinois and Wisconsin, and we're billed by the quarter, not by the month, and our bills there run $80 for the quarter. And I agree that my bill is usually the same amount every month. It doesn't change if I'm here or not. And I've never seen anybody read my meter either, and I'm not sure if it even works. And I really don't think they're being honest about the increase. It was on the news that Johnson Utility had said that it would average a $7 a month increase for people. Well, if you take the percentages that they're trying to increase, just on my bill this month, it would have been $11 more. So I don't think they deserve a raise, and I think that the whole plant should be investigated from what we've heard today and something done. Either another city or county takes over the water department and the sewer department, because it's not healthy for anybody in this community. Thank you.
Kelly Senecal, I think. I don't know if I got that last name right.
My name is Kelly Senecal. I used to live at 345 West Jersey Way. We still own the house, but for safety concerns, we moved. I bought a new house in a different water district on purpose. Every house we looked at that had Johnson Utilities, we turned around and walked out. We moved in 14 years ago. And 14 years ago, we started having problems. Water's bad. It was bad 2 weeks ago. You shouldn't drink it. You shouldn't take a shower. Shouldn't brush your teeth. Really? So where am I supposed to take a shower and be decent and presentable to go to work, to make the money to pay for the crapshoot that I'm going to get in my bill? I open a bill. Some months it's $80. Some months it's $250. My parents moved in with us when I got leukemia. My bill went down. They moved out. So 6 people in a house, it went back up. 4 people in a house. You never know what you're going to get. These guys are crooks. And I can't even guarantee you that my cancer wasn't caused by their water.
Well, let's see. I'm sure murder this last name. Larry. I'll spell it as close as I can read it. Bulbucion.
My name is Larry Bulbulian. I live at 5414 West Montebello Way, and I'm going to keep this real short. I've been to other countries, third world countries, where they tell you don't drink the water. We live in the United States of America, and we're not a third world country. We should be able to drink the water.
Alan Marden.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me come before you. I was at a meeting last night, and it works. I was at a meeting last night, and it was brought up that one particular area had no water to their fire hydrants. Now, who's responsible for testing the fire hydrants in my neighborhood in Solera? You can't answer that?
Well, we don't know off the top of our head, and we're not here to get in exchanges with the presenters. We have your information.
Okay.
It's been recorded, and so we'll need to follow up on
and
that.
The one we pay for? Okay. I'll call them too. There's a couple of things we as a community can do to solve this problem. Number one, we can file a class action lawsuit. Number two, we can elect a new corporate commission. And number three, we can all vote to incorporate as a city of our own, so we got some say on what goes on around here. Thank you.
Okay, we have, that was the last slip that I have that requested to speak. The other slips we have here are, have not requested to speak, or if there is somebody here that does, we'll take. Okay, well, you can go ahead and come up. I'm sorry if we got the slips mixed up. But let me read this docket number for you one more time here, if you'll just hold on a second. The docket number is WS-02987-17-0392. Okay, sir, if you give her your name.
My name is Gary Murray. Oh, you can hear me on this one, can you?
1001 West Desert Glen Drive, Santan Valley. Now that I've given you my address, my water bill will go up, probably. But I have a complaint. We've lived here 7 months. We're from Washington State. And I came down and bought a house, did not know anything about the water and the whole 9 yards. So the first bill comes in, it's around $80. I go, well, that's not bad. But then the next thing I know, they turn the water off. So I go to Johnson Utility, and I said, why did you turn the water off? She goes, because you didn't pay. I said, we paid the bill. The first one, no, we're talking about this month. I said, but I never received a bill. And she goes, you have to go to the post office and complain to them. And it was also 60,000 gallons for 1 month. And I told her there is no way my house would be floating away at 60,000 gallons. And she said that there's nothing to do, that I probably had a leak that I couldn't find. I go, can you send someone out and tell me where the water is? And they said, well, if we do, by then you probably fix the leak. Basically calling me a liar. And you know what? The problem with the company, I worked for Fontana Water Company in Fontana, California, 13 years. And we were taught that we cared for the company and we cared for the customer. And they don't do either one. The problem is they don't care about it. As long as they can get their money. I said, I'm going to go to another water company. She go, that's not going to happen because we're the only one that services the area. They don't care about anybody. It's like a little kid inheriting a company, sucking that thing dry and not putting a dime back in. They need new facilities. They need bigger pipes. I mean, they just don't want to invest in the customer. And the thing is, the company or the customer is pretty well SOL, I'll say, because there's not a thing they can do. Nothing. They can complain, and the people at the front desk, you might as well throw away. There's 2 girls every time I go there, and they don't care about the company. And they said, well, it's basically your problem. And I think it should be the community. They should, I am totally opposed of any kind of rate increase. I don't think we should be paying anything for the service we get. They should fire every one of them and bring someone in that cares about people. And that's all I can say.
Now, is there anyone else that maybe didn't fill out a slip or we didn't call your name for? Yes, go ahead. We'll start taking those people that are in that category.
Hello, I'm Carol Thorne. I live at 5727 East Everhart Lane in Oasis Magic Ranch. I'm a simple person of simple means, so I'm going to say this very simply. Johnson Utilities is a public utility company. As such, they have a duty and obligation to behave accordingly. They have a duty and obligation to give us good drinking water. It is unfair that I'm not only forced to pay them their fee, but also another $50 a month to Sparklets so that I don't lose any more animals to cancer. I can't prove that. She can't prove her cancer either. But it's a devastating disease. I know, I've had it. I'm asking, why didn't Florence, when they were entertaining taking over Johnson Utilities, complete that transaction? What did they find? What did they find that was so bad a city as big as Florence wouldn't touch it and walked away? We need our Corporation Commission to look into this, to bring in a third party, to do whatever it takes to help us simple people live simply and well. Thank you.
And ma'am, if you didn't fill out a slip, could you do that for us? Okay, thank you. Yes.
My name is Valerie O'Leary. I live at 3555 East Morenci Road. I didn't plan on speaking today. O'Leary, 3555 East Morenci Road in Copper Basin. I didn't plan on speaking today, but after listening to everybody, I think there's a picture on my phone that would be really beneficial for you to see. It's the water that came out of my sink faucet that Johnson Utilities is so generously letting me pay for, that I am unable to drink. It's brown. It looks like mud water. It looks like I washed my dirty boots. I was trying to fill up a clear plastic jug to be able to give my dogs water. I can't give my dogs this. I wonder what I'm bathing in. What am I brushing my teeth in? This isn't right. I live on my own, 11,000 gallons. My water bill is $170 to $200 every single month. Promise you, I do not use that much water. They won't help me. I've got the same thing everybody else says. Well, there must be a leak. Well, guess what? There's no leak. And like I've heard mentioned before, magically, it is an exact number every time. It's 11,000 on the dot. It's 10,000 on the dot. It's 11,000 on the dot. There's no way. The places I've lived before, you see exactly how many gallons. It's not rounded up to the nearest 1,000. That's not right. It shouldn't be this way, especially when I can't drink the water that comes out of my sink. So I have to, as they've mentioned, I have to pay for water from utilities. I have to also buy water for me, for my dogs. I have a grandchild terminally ill that can't even come visit me because I can't bathe them in this water. I can't let them be outside breathing these toxic fumes.
Ma'am, when was that picture taken?
I believe this was just in January.
Okay, thank you.
I'm more than willing. I can print out a picture and I can bring it. I'll do whatever you need to be able to enter that. That's all.
Okay, again, is there anyone else that, yes, sir, come on up.
I'm Bruce Felicki, 1351 East Eucalyptus Lane, Santan Valley. My concern today, along with my wife's after being here 3.5 years, I bought my home on a VA loan. And I wonder if the VA, what they're going to tell me when I'm forced to sell or walk away from that loan as a veteran because I can't sell the home because of the water. Thank you.
Anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay, if we do not have any more, we'll conclude the meeting. I'll give Commissioner Dunn a chance to speak here, but we want to thank you all for coming. We want to thank you for your information, and again, as we've said before, we're recording that information for future use in this issue. So I'll turn it over to Commissioner Dunn.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. And I want to thank the audience for being so transparent and so thorough in your discussions of the issues you're having. And I ask that you please continue that dialogue as we go through this process. Now, I don't think I'm stepping out of the bounds here, but my concern is that we have a rate case that is an established procedure that will go through and look at the numbers, look at the history, look at all the things that we look at typically when a utility is asking for an increase in their rates. That takes a little bit of time, probably 9 to 12 months. My concern is what I'm hearing here, and especially from my local background dealing with city government, that there are issues of quality and service I feel needs to be addressed sooner. And I'm going to be requesting staff to give me advice as to how we can deal with that and make certain that we deal with those issues of quality and for your service before we get to the final conclusion of whatever the rate decision will be. So that may take a different docket, whatever the case may be, but I'm going to ask staff to give some advice as to how we can perhaps separate this procedure so we can deal with the health issues immediately, especially if there are any.
And I agree with that 100%. So, yes, ma'am.
One question. We've lived out here for going on 6 years. The water quality is a huge issue. The billing is a huge issue. My experiences are lesser than some and more than others. I don't understand why this has gone on as long as it has. I don't understand why, if my health continues to deteriorate, we're going to take a financial loss in selling our home. Why is that? Can you guys really do something about this? Is this a matter for the Attorney General for the state of Arizona? Is it just past what a local corporation commission can actually accomplish? I think you guys, your heart's in the right spot, but I think your hands are tied. And I'm not feeling real confident in anything going past this commission, unfortunately. I don't think you guys can deal with him. I think he's bought everybody off.
Amen.
But my God, in 5 years, could I get a receipt mailed to me from Johnson Utilities when I drop my bill off in the overnight payment? No, it's never flippin' happened. I've been criticized, I've been pointed out, oh, you have to print it in this little box for us to respond. Oh, bull. I spent over 35 years in customer service. The first thing you don't do is make your customer wrong. Let's start there and go from then with honesty. Thank you.
Ma'am, could you give us your name and your address, please?
Sure. Pauline Lovato, L-O-V-A-T-O. I live at 3059 East Silversmith Trail, Santan Valley. And I don't know for how long our neighbors sold the open door. I'm thinking about it. It's just nonsense.
Okay, as I said, we've gone through all the slips of the people that wanted to speak, and so we're going to conclude this session. There'll be another session this evening starting at 6 to 8 if necessary. So if you're not interested in coming back for that one, you can let your neighbors know and maybe they can come. So thank you for being here.